Yes, indeed, it's a beautiful morning right here in the studios of a lot of activities, starting with the newspaper review, then on to the weather report, and then the interview segment before we wrap up with the sports segment. And this morning, I've got the Nation newspaper right here with me as we kickstart things right here on the screen. And yes, indeed, there are stories right here on the front page. We're on page 8. We have a couple of stories. The first one, State Assemblies ready to OK State Police Bill. The second story, pressure on marketers to cut petrol pump price. And a story from page 5, Tinubu reassures on Orire as Oyo extends curfew. And of course, moving on to a couple of stories on page 29, 8 died, 27 injured in Lagos building collapse. And of course, there's another one, death sentence for 2 kidnappers. Now to move into some of the other stories that we have. This one is still on the front page. CBN orders freeze of accounts linked to terrorism financing. 6 individuals, 4 firms identified. Banks to comply with immediate effects. Now let's flip on to what we have on the inside pages, starting from page 2, where we have this one. APCON 6 vigilance in FX operations. Akpabio Wike tackled ADC and Mark over attacks on Tinubu's record. And we have this one. Parties get INEC access code today. PDP, NDC, SDP ready with lists. That's what the story says on that page. Now moving on to what we have on page 4. CCB arranged Governor's Chief of Staff, 5 Council Chairmen on the probe. Digital Assets Declaration Platform unveiled. Ondo begins payment of 2.6 billion naira gratuity arrears. Family members, leaders celebrate Udukoya at 70th Memorial Lecture. Insecurity, about Benin activates grassroots security. And we have Ekiti elders congratulate Oyebanji. We also have some more stories right here. But moving on to page 5, Orire will rescue victims on hut, says Tinubu. Oyo extends coffee in 10 council areas by 24 hours. We also have this one. Fubara sends MTEF to Rivers Assembly. Adeleke 6 CP's redeployment over a Saoke incident. Zulum shots Bama IDP camp. Targets full closure across Borno. And someone saying Tinubu may win 22 states in 2027. Oyo's contributory pension scheme takes off July 1st. Ekiti governorship election credible, says Observer Group. Tributes for Ajimobi at 6th anniversary. Navy inaugurates ICT Center, renovates Lagos school facilities. Now to some of the stories that we have on page 8. We have, yes, that same story from the front page. State Assembly is ready to OK State Police Bill. And flipping is across board. Let's go to Friday threats on page 15. How Cape Verde became the World Cup's Cinderella story. NPFL had questions behind proposed 1 billion naira jackpots. And of course, the stories are incredible still. Moving on to page 16. Sulaiman Alau Malaika meets Fuji Music Silent Achiever. Adekunle Gold, Toby Bakre light up a smoky jollof seasoning at Jollof Festival. Osasa Igudaro lands lead role in new series. And of course, there's a lot more stories on the entertainment scenes right here this morning. All right, so moving on to what we have on page 18, Lagos of Fire with Milo Basketball Championship finale, 12 teams ready for glory. And, well, the continuation of the story from page 15, MPFL are questions behind proposed 1 billion naira jackpot. And there is something on woman on page 19, women must build generational wealth. That's interesting. Mindful eating, African plates, revamping traditional Nigerian dishes for optimal gut health. And that's something that you might want to follow through on. On page 21, controversy trails prosecution of IIHLMD over business transaction. 100 selected for scholarship awards. Initiative to combat evolving drug threats. Waiku are becoming contagious in West Africa. And of course, Blood Do Not Drive campaign for today. And of course, there is something on page 22 you might want to read up on. How Tinubu is refounding Nigeria's economy. You might want to read up on that. Something about Kola Oyewo will live from 1946 down to 2026. A remarkable actor, teacher, artist, cultural ambassador with a great passion for education. And of course, moving on, we have on page 24 Sanwo-Olu Lagosians gift to Nigeria and the world. And on to business now on page 26. Tax compliance still major issue, says Oyedele. Sanusi to ECOWAS, don't launch ECO on weak economies. Federal government approves over 150% wage increase for seafarers. Nigeria and others set up management for $16 billion Abidjan Lagos Highway. And Ekeyamo signs off at Enugu Airport for concession. And of course, moving on to what we have on page 28, federal government moves to sustain COVID-19 grant gains and strengthen its security. First 86 shift in youth mindset through volunteerism. And the federal government appeals restoration of marginal field license to Irafik. 66 Nigerians returned from South Africa. And of course, we have some more on page 29. That's an interesting story here. We killed ex-OG TV broadcaster Oyesiku to teach her a lesson, says ex-guard. And this is a very sad story about a 22-year-old principal suspect who is the ex-guard to the bereaved. My God rest her soul. Lagos CP, motion explosion caused by mechanical fault, not bomb. Ogun NDLEA arrests 306 drug suspects, dismantles illegal meth lab in Ogun. And Ekiti distributes sanitary pads to 300 female pupils, 2 jailed 25 years for kidnapping in Ekiti. NCDC seeks stronger national health institutions. That's something from page 30. Nigeria sympathizes with Venezuela as huge earthquakes kill 164. And into sports now on page 31. Now or never, as Senegal seek lifeline against Iraq, Nwabali leaked to Saudi as agency's saga nears end. And of course, there is a whole lot more right here, but that's as much as we can take right here for this morning's edition of the Nation newspaper. Over now to you this morning.
Thank you very much, Victor. All right, I'll be taking stories from the Nigerian Tribune of this morning. And the major story there says LG Autonomy, State Police. Stakeholders put governors on the spot. With some riders there, state police will protect prosecuted Nigerian Christians, says U.S. lawmaker Moore. Right speakers reaffirm state assembly's commitment to the state police bill. LP urges governors, state assemblies to be above partisanship back bill. All right, Tinubu's government can't be trusted with state police. That's coming from PRP. You can find our story on page 20, 21, and 22. On page 22, 2 dead, 16 rescued as 3-story building collapses in Lagos. On page 4, INEC opens candidate nomination portal tomorrow. Menstrual blood test to help detect endometriosis. That's coming from experts. Former security guard planned executed murder of ex-OG TV. That's according to the police. We killed her to teach her a lesson. That's coming from the prospect. On page 30, Tinubu House on rebirth. It's remodeled 154-bed Premier Hotel. Promises safe release of Orire kidnapped students and teachers. All right, we'll come to other stories still on the front page. FG from Bajabia says 70 not in tune with current economic realities. On page 28, appeal court John's hearing against the registration of ADC. Accord 3 orders till July 7th. On page 6, CBN orders banks to freeze asset of BDC's 6 individuals over alleged terrorism funding. Let's come over to page 3. And on page 4, PDP tackles Ebonyi governor over threat to consume opposition leaders. Turkey-led NWC commends Nwi Furu for calling out Wike All right, other stories there. APC chairman present flag to cancel election candidate at Gombe rally. Right, Senate State Police Senator Arishe commends Tinubu National Assembly. Or should developmental station calls for peace? Restrain issue-based campaign ahead of elections. On page 5, diesel price rose by 86% in May. Kerosene sold for 2,971 naira 94 kobo per liter. That's according to the Bureau of Statistics. All right, we come to other stories. The equity investors lose 958 billion naira as sell-off deepens at NGX. On page 6, you have FG complete handover of Enugu Airport to concessionary Extol Mbaro. All right, other stories there. CBN others freeze on asset of 6 individuals for BDC over alleged financing. We come to other pages there this morning. On page 11, you have the story there. Police IG's absurd logic on tinted glasses. President Tinubu's new social contract for Nigerian workers. FG to review minimum wage. That's coming from Bajabia Mila. All hands on deck to ensure release of kidnapped teachers, students in Oyo. That's coming from the federal government. Makinde extends curfew in 10 Oyo local government area by 24 hours. Adelabu Buhari Ali Hampton unity among APC members in Oyo at 6-year fidal of Ajimobi. All right, let's come to the Eye of Islam on page 13. Al-Muminat MMWG demand justice for lynched Kaduna teacher. New chief imam of Ilorin for installation July 10th. Man disburses 5.48 million naira funds. Empowerment tool to 32 Zakat beneficiaries in Ibadan. Right, let's go to other stories this morning. Kola Oyewo, the Cotton Falls. Switch the Groove emerges major force in Ogun entertainment scene. Corporate world can learn a lot from our baking lifestyle. That's coming from Adedayo Mustafa, COO. Okay, all right, let's go to other stories. Inside Arewa, you have the story there. TB, HIV, co-infection challenges demand strong partnership in Zamfara. All right, on page 19, FGC Kano alumni drag FG ICR developer to court over land concession. That story is also there. All right, local government autonomy, state police stakeholders put governors on the spot. Our local government autonomy would have reduced insecurity. That's coming from Tunde Adeniro orders. How former security guard planned executed murder of ex-Ogun TV broadcaster. That's coming from the police. 2 dead, 16 rescued as 3-story building collapsed in Lagos. All right, on the sport, vintage sports this morning, you have European club prepares 120 million euro bid for Osimhen. Messi versus Ronaldo, the defining rivalry of football golden age. All right, other stories that made the headline this morning. Messi versus Ronaldo. You also have a story, European club prepares. All right, so Fulham yet to give up on Unwaiwu. Boniface fitness getting better. That's coming from Leverkusen chief. All right, let's see. We have other stories. Let's go to page 27. 1 dead, a struck ram APC procession in Ede. 2 policemen killed, 9 victims rescued as police foil kidnap attempt in Kaduna. Ekiti court to hear 70 million naira right abuse suit against NSCDC businessman June 26th. Right, we'll come to page 28. Appeal court adjourns hearing of suit of the registration of ADC Accord and 3 other parties. All right, we have FCE, Pioneer International Virtual Training, set new benchmark for teacher education. Lawyer CSO call for urgent judicial reform to strengthen democracy. Or your mandates contribute pensions new public servants July 1st. All right, of course, on the back page, Udene is a place 15 million euro price tag on Okoye. All right, I tried to stop David from playing for Canada. And those are the stories that made the headline this morning. We'll go on a break, and when we come back, we'll be serving you with the weather report for this morning. Our quotes for the day, and we'll take you through our interview segments. Thank you for staying tuned. All right, we want to appreciate you for staying tuned this morning. All right, it's another edition of AM120 on the Broadcasting Corporation for your state. And this morning on the program, we'll be looking at what we call issues surrounding state police amendment bill. That's what we're going to be looking at this morning. And to do justice to the conversation, we have our guest here. We have Barrister Oludare Adewale. Of course, he's Esquire, he's a legal practitioner, a former banker, and of course, he's into the energy sector. That's what we're going to be looking at this morning, issues surrounding the state police. Of course, you will recall that a lot had been on with regards to the state police. But finally, the federal governor, the federal government has appointed, passed the bill. It has become a law that state police is in existence right now. The president has also assented to it. But trust me, it leaves us with a lot of questions, what to do, how to go about it. And of course, state governments have been given the power to appoint its commissioner. But is this really going to work directly the same way? Don't forget that states in the southwest, apart from Lagos, are currently running their Motekun. So the question is, will this be an adoption? Will there be another state police system in other regions of the country? How will it work? And even in the dailies this morning, one of the lawmakers in the United States said, look, state police will protect Christians. Will it not protect other religious bodies? We'll come to that conversation this morning with our guest. All right, let's begin this morning by looking at the issues critically. Are we ready? Are we ripe? Are we matured enough? Are we prepared to have state police? Do we even need state police at this moment?
Thank you, the presenter. I appreciate you. Quite honestly speaking, I believe that we are ripe to have a state police. We have been clamoring for it for so long a time. It's not a new thing that we are talking about state police suddenly now. Issues have suddenly led to that, and I want to believe that we are ripe for it. What we only need to do is to harmonize our strategies, to harmonize our positions, because each and everybody has a role to play. The National Assembly has its own role to play. The states' assemblies have roles to play. Everybody has one thing or the other to do. What we need to do is to ensure that we put together all this and ensure that we know where we are going, what we are doing. The moment we can do that, we are good to go. We are the problems of ourselves, and we are the solutions to the problems as well. So I believe strongly that we are ripe for it.
Yes. Go on, Victor.
No, I was just looking at, him saying we are ripe for it. Some people say that our hands have been forced because of the spate of insecurity issues that we have had, especially in the last year thereabouts, coming down to the southwest, and that's, pushed us other to go for it. Do you agree with some of those voices?
Voices of insecurity?
No, voices of those saying we are not ripe. We have only been forced into it because of the increase in insecurity.
Well, I have heard of some people complaining that we are not ripe, but when are we going to be ripe? Is it when we don't have anything called Nigeria again that we will be ripe, or when?
But it brings to question all those times when, the Southwest governors especially convened to set up the Amotekun and, try to work with the local
if you know when Southwest set up the Amotekun of his stuff, the time they have been discussing the Dawn Commission and all these other issues that have been coming up.
Okay, Barrister.
You see that we are ripe. We are ripe. Those are issues to tell you that we are ripe.
Okay.
You give us a moment because we need to pay some bills. Let's go on this commercial break, Barrister. When we come back, you complete your thoughts on that line. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. they use money point.
Of course now, they use money point.
Confirm.
Money Point, made for your progress.
Home. It's shared moments lived in the now.
Home. It's when concussion rice comes to the rescue when your homies arrive for sports night or girls hangout.
Home is the moment we live and what's in the pots. After all, what's home without food? That's why we say, let's
go home. There's food
at
at home.
All right, thank you very much for sticking around with us. We're still right here in the conversation this morning with Barrister Adewale. And yes, indeed, we are talking about, the recent passing of the State Police Bill. And, of course, a lot of people asking questions. And, it's always there in our faces. People will have those questions to ask. But then you are breaking it down and taking us back to the background of this with the Southwest governors convening. You mentioned the Dawn, you mentioned other things. What are the other things that we saw in the build-up to this that makes you feel like we are very much ready to actually go ahead with this plan?
Well, I strongly believe that we are ready as a nation to go ahead with state police plans. I believe so. We have ordinance, we have the personnel. We have the personnel. We have the resources. We have both human and natural. You have every other thing that is needed, that is required for us to be able to achieve state police. So I don't know what else people might be talking about that we don't have, that will stop us from going ahead with the state police. We have all that is required. All we need to do is to train our people. If people say we don't have money, we have the money. We only need to channel it to the right path. Then we need to train our people, hire them, hire the right persons. If you have hired, train them, and let them be on the right path.
Barrister, now, the proposed amendments, the bill, would allow states to establish their own police services operating alongside the federal police structure. And governors would have significant roles in the appointment and direction of state police leadership, while the federal police would continue handling the national security matters, such as terrorism, border security, and federal crimes, from what we are seeing, and the breakdown of so many analysts right there. But then the question would now, first and foremost, be that of collaboration and interference. How do they create a synergy that would not affect each other's work? How do they demarcate the lines of jurisdiction? Because it seems like it's a problem that many people clearly want to avoid right there, especially when it comes to how political matters get, where, you have some individuals, because they are holding power at a certain level, they want to use the power as against what is coming from a different level, maybe lower, maybe higher. These are the questions that we ask. So how do we best work that the thin lines, would not be affected in jurisdiction, in command of and discharge of duty, as well as, being able to synergize and help each other to solve security matters?
Well, thank you so much. I said something earlier that we are going to be the solution to our issues. Nobody will come from anywhere to solve our problems for us. That is basic. That is basic. Now, you are talking of synergy. We cannot run away from that. To have a very good arrangement between the federal and the states, I will expect, like we have it in the bill, to have a national police, a uniform national police standard way of doing things between the police, the federal and the state police forces. Between the federal and the state police, there's it for us to have a uniform police standard way of doing things, which the National Assembly is going to establish. That is the role of the National Assembly. When the National Assembly establishes that, it comes out with all those policies that are expected of the federal police, all those things, policies that are expected of the state police, let them come out with it. Then let the state also synergize from there. And then we see how everybody will fix in.
Okay.
So by the time we do all this, I believe we should be able to have a perfect arrangement.
Yes, I want to quickly say that I do not disagree that we are ripe for state police, like you said. But don't you think that it's coming at a wrong time? When at a wrong time, where we're preparing ahead of the 2027 election, where there might be clash between states and the federal police. You'd agree with me that there is no election that will not allow for police system, whether at the state or national or the federal, to actually be on ground during the election. One, will the election not be over-policed? Two, interest of government at the state and at the federal. Will the states not use the state police to actualize their dreams, while the federal will also? So will there not be a clash at some point? How can we ensure that it is about the people, interests of the states, the country, and not about interests of individual? How will the police be able to run with, and crossing all of these hurdles?
Thank you. We will have a state police at a certain point in time in the history of this nation. We must have it at a certain point, whether now or in future. We need to have it. So for you now to say the election is because the election is coming and it's very close, it's this and that, so we may not have, the state police team may not be able to work. I don't believe that. Let us start it. Let us experiment. Let's have it in place. When we have it in place, along the line, if everybody is sincere with his own role, don't forget what I said when I started to talk, let each and everybody play his own role as it is expected of him or her or as an institution. The federal is sincere in all these steps that they are taking.
Why do you think the federal is sincere?
Look at the way, the rate, the rapid rate at which they have sent out this bill.
No, sir. You would agree with me that the sincerity you're talking about, the fast tracking of the passage of this bill, is because Nigerians are now clamoring. International communities are clamoring.
It's because you have a sincere, responsible government.
No, sir.
That's why you are listening to those people that are clamoring.
You use the word sincerity at a point where over the years insecurity has taken over let me not say virtually, many parts of the northern part of Nigeria.
Yes.
It's becoming more synonymous that we all have to get up from our beds when it started moving down to the southwest. It seemed all along like it was another country that was experiencing insecurity in the northern part of Nigeria. Before now.
A government that is not responsible wouldn't have taken the steps so far taken. That's where I look at it. That's where I look at it. The government is still on the right path.
So you want to give kudos to the government at the federal and the National Assembly for doing this in the first instance?
Well, I want to do that. I want to do that, please. But don't let us delve too much into that.
Okay. It's very important we also look at it, because we have to also look at the roles of individual. The National Assembly had been put there to perform certain role. And this is part of their responsibility. This is the 10th Assembly.
Yes.
One would have expected that this should have been completed even before we got to this point in the first instance.
It's easier done than said. It's easier done than said, my sister. Let us just believe, let us just thank God that we are where we are now. We are at a stage where the bill is being passed into law.
So would you say this assembly is representing the minds of Nigerians at this time?
I want to believe so. I want to believe so.
All right.
Let's
go to other issues on the subject
now,
matter.
one of the oppositions to this is coming off something from the PRP, where the PRP, that's the police, they are publicly warning that state police could become vulnerable to political abuse. It's a fear that many have. And it's not without some history. Remember that back then we used to have the OPC, some of these other bodies that used to, you know, even before the Amotekun, back then, the Agbekoyas, and then people started to look at some moments where some certain individuals, like I mentioned, in power, were utilizing them for personal purposes, for solving personal vendetta. And this is where one of the first fears is, will governors not abuse state police? I'm not saying all, but I'm saying, will governors not abuse? Are they laying down some parts of these policies that will ensure that that institution would not be abused by political office holders?
Yes, that's an aspect of it that we need to seriously look at. Well, our governors are quite aware of the fear of everybody. They are aware. They know that that is a major fear that people have when it comes to state police. The abuse by our governors. And that is why many people are afraid, really, if I should use that word, of the state police. But I want to believe that our governors are mature people who want progress for this country, who are also interested in moving Nigeria forward, who have been clamoring for so long that they are almost powerless when it comes to control of the Nigerian police, who now have the opportunity to exercise some level of control on an arm of government that will eventually lead to good security, that will bring about security, that will allow everybody to sleep with two eyes. So they are in a position now to play that role. So I don't believe that they want to abuse that. I don't want to believe that they want to abuse that.
Okay.
So that's my personal belief.
Okay. Let's even try to imagine if the state police was in place before the children in Oriri were abducted, what would they have done better?
You mean if the state police had been in place?
Yes.
Yes. Well, we are just thinking. We are just thinking.
Yes, that's why I said let's imagine.
They are not in place.
Yes, let's imagine they were in place before that abduction was, came to existence or happened.
All these structures would have been put in place, the framework, everything that is not there.
Would they have prevented the abduction?
Well, we are just imagining.
Yes, we want to imagine.
Why can't they?
Sometimes we need to imagine to see.
Why can't they prevent? Why can't they prevent? Why can't they prevent? They can, if they had been in place.
Now let's look at funding of this particular police system.
The essence of state police is for people to really tackle local security. That is the main reason why you are having the state police. The essence, the major reason is for them to be able to tackle local insecurity. And how do you tackle local insecurity? When you know people that's around you, people that will live within you, people that live within your surroundings, people that you see together, you see each other, you live with each other, you greet each other every day. You know the kind of character people portray. So it will be difficult for you to really go into bad habits or criminal tendencies, because you would have known one another, you would have known the kind of job I'm doing, you would have every day when I go out, where do I go to, what do I do, you yourself, what do you do, what do you get involved in, and so everybody will know everybody. So by the time we are getting involved in that, everybody is exposed one way or the other.
Now let's
look to use that in quotes.
So let's look at funding of this particular police system, new police system. do you think that government at the state will be able to fund them?
Adequately.
That's the word. Adequately.
Well, don't let me. I want to see.
You just laughed.
I laugh because I believe that my opinion might surprise you.
Please go ahead.
That the government should be able to fund it, for God's sake.
Where would they get the money?
Where are they getting the one they are diverting?
But then we
No, that's an allegation to say they are diverting.
Where are they getting the ones they are diverting?
That's an allegation.
Yes, it is an allegation until it is proved right. I know, but it is some elements of truth. You pick it from there.
Well, maybe you have to put forward some of your facts to be able to show
where
that.
Where are they getting the ones they are diverting?
That's an allegation. You're still using that.
And luckily, there is the fact that is increasing every time. The governors are in money.
The fact is not even solving the state's problem.
It's solving it.
How?
It only requires prioritization of needs by the states.
Barrister,
it only requires prioritization.
When they were making tax amendments,
yes,
we noticed that quite a number of states had issues at the very beginning, opposing it, because of a certain part that meant that they would have to generate and hence something from what they are generated. How do we think that these states will be able to generate enough, do the adequate things, the bare minimum even, just to be able to set up what some see as a added burden to what the states are spending at this point in time?
They have to prioritize their expenses. Yes. Because there is no state that will tell you is comfortable. Probably maybe Lagos. Maybe Lagos. All other states, they've got to work hard and source for funds. Even the funds they are getting are the fact. It's like I believe it's enough. It's something.
Okay, for states like Oyo, Ogun, Osun, Ekiti, Ondo, currently running their Moteco. We might say that they are only going to formalize the establishment of maybe a Moteco into a proper state police to allow it to have the shape that the state police, yes, in the constitution now amended. But to my mind, they need to do extra in terms of, they're already funding. But one area that gives me concern is that even in the federal police, the Nigerian police force, we don't have enough police. Many people don't want to go into the police anymore. Many. You see the recruitment process, how it is. How many people do you think will want to go and lay down their lives to be in the state police?
So when people don't want to go into state police, they don't want to lay down their lives. Why are we talking about people being kidnapped? Why are we interested in rescuing them? Why are we interested in rescuing them? If our people are no longer interested, I agree with you that some of our people are no longer interested in going to state police, even going to the national police, not talk of the state one. Because I know of some institutions that announce for people to come and join the police at the Central Council of Ibadan Indigenes. I'm aware of efforts that have been made to bring our indigenes into the state police, but with people are not really reacting to positively. So when that happens, why are you now saying that we need to rescue our people from the from these kidnappers? Why are we saying that? So we've got to stand up and live up to expectation. It's our responsibility. We've got to allow peace. We've got to bring about peace and tranquility to obtain in our system.
Victor, permit me to give this information that the federal government of Nigeria has given a mandate of 30,000 recruitment of police officers every year. But unfortunately, they have had to extend the deadline to allow people to turn out. I was saying that, yes, to turn up, to show interest. And I remember talking to someone, some months ago about going into the police, and the person said, over my dead body. I really don't know why people don't want to join the police force.
Maybe we know. Maybe we don't want to answer the question ourselves, because there are questions about welfareism. I mean, you go to most police barracks and you wonder the state of their living, their families. How interested would you be if somewhere you are passing by and you're seeing how the people who are actually trying to protect our lives are living? Question one. Question two, what protection is there for these individuals? Because until recently, many of them were used as, carrying tools by certain individuals into society. Protect me, be my handbag to parties, carry my stuff, and then,
Even after the withdrawal.
Even after we were still seeing some of them out there. And so, how do we now, look, I think that's a question we should be asking, how do we make the police
attractive.
an attractive institution? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. That's part of the issues that I think have to be resolved. This part of the matter, the issues that we have to be tackled in order to have a total application of the state police stuff. Is part of this. Is part of the solution. It's part of the issues that we have to be resolved in order to have a total approach to the state police thing. Welfareism of the police, we have to carry them along too. And you don't need to recruit 1 million police officers.
How much is enough?
Whatever, I don't know. That's not my area, so I wouldn't be able to say much as to how many we need, how many we have now, and now what is his deficit or something. No. But what I know is, let us go into the right recruitment drive and let us select the right people that will be able to tackle the security challenges.
When you say right.
Barrister, let's talk about the numbers now. With the federal police alone, let's add the forest guards that have been brought in. Let's add the vigilantes, the local vigilantes, the BCOS, the Amotekun, and all other, but it's even the ones in the north, the vigilante groups out there. We said we do not have enough security personnel to protect Nigeria adequately. We have seen that repeatedly heard by different analysts and, security experts. Now, there's a directive. Do not adopt Amotekun individuals straight into the state police. Do not do this, do not do that. How then can we get the required number that will secure Nigeria state by state?
State by state?
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. Each state, we have to go into that and do their own mathematics. Oyo will not do the mathematics for Ogun State.
But there's a United Nations benchmark of 1 to 450.
Which says?
That's what I'm saying. The United Nations standard is ratio 1 to 450. Now we have ratio 1 to 600. So we have a long way to go.
Everywhere we have shortfall. Everywhere. When you go into the medical line, look at the number of doctors you have compared to the required number is always a shortfall. Look at lawyers, the number you have compared.
Oh, we have a shortfall in the legal system?
Everywhere.
How?
Everywhere you have it. Lawyers are not enough.
Why? How?
Because we need more. We need more lawyers.
Can you imagine? So in journalism, we have a shortfall too.
It says everywhere.
It says everywhere.
He said
we need
everywhere.
more.
That is what we are talking about. So don't let us look too much into all that. Let us see how we can have the best approach, the best way by which you can monitor our system so that there will be security, so that everybody will be okay.
Barrister, let's look at Oyo State now. Given what has happened in the last 1 year, security-wise, the spate of kidnapping, the number of times we felt that some stories that were previously unheard of started becoming a recurring theme. How would you set up an Oyo State Police Department that would ensure that security gets back to the optimum?
Well, thank you so much. I believe strongly in the efficacy of the system that we have on ground presently. And I believe that the current administration in the state is up to the task. We are restricting ourselves to Oyo State now.
Yes.
And I believe, like I said earlier, it has to be a sort of collaboration between the state, each state, and the federal. Each state cannot do it alone. Oyo State cannot do it all alone. It still has to collaborate to synergize with the federal in order to have a strong Oyo police command. It has to be a sort of harmonization of ideas amongst the executive council, the security institutions that we have in the state, the federal institutions, and even the local ones like Amotekun, those people running those institutions as well. All of them have to sit down together and agree on the modus operandi of how to run this, how to put in place this system, and the right framework that will make it to work. We are all indigenes of Oyo State. We know where we want what we want. We know where we want to get to, and we will know how to get there. It's a matter of everybody sitting down to agree on what to do. We have the State House of Assembly, which also has a role to play. The Assembly has to be there too. They represent every constituency. They represent every segment of people in the system. So, by the time we put all these things together, we will have a solid police arrangement which will be good for everybody, everybody will be happy about.
Okay. So now, my own thinking is that there's no way that we will actually go ahead with the state police department when it's been institutionalized without having to poach from the federal police or Amotekun or some other group.
Of course.
I don't think there's a way. And the NPR is saying the directive is not to put.
Of course, that was why I said we have to synergize. Oyo State cannot do it all alone. He has to do it together with the federal.
Okay.
What is federal doing? What can we benefit? What are the advantage?
All right, Barrister, before we actually sit down inside of that and talk about more things about recruitment, let's go pay these bills and then we'll come back and then we'll talk about all of that.
Okay.
Okay.
Bible.
So, they use money point.
Of course now, they use money points.
Confirm.
Money Point, made for your progress.
All right, thank you very much. Well, we're having our conversations behind the scenes right
Yeah.
here this morning just to drive up the conversation so that you guys get the best of the analysis. But we're still right here talking about the issues surrounding the State Police Amendment Bill, and we are still right here with Barrister Oludare Adewale, a legal practitioner. I forgot to add Esquire right here to that. So we're talking about numbers, we're talking about recruitment, we're talking about how they get to do it, to actually do the initial setup. But then I'm thinking, do we have the required heads to think about the architecture, how it should be? Because for long we have complained about Nigeria's federal security architecture and how difficult it's been to work some things. I think the first part of call will be looking at security analysts, experts, and architects that would bring out a framework for how the institution will look like from state to state. Maybe each state will have its own peculiar case.
Yes, thank you. In our state, we have our security experts. We have them located in different places. We have them at the universities. I don't want to be particular about a particular. I don't want to mention, to restrict it to a particular place so that it doesn't look like I'm promoting.
No.
And you get to the University of Ibadan, with all due respect, you see many security experts there in that department. You see Professor Albert, you see many others, and many other people, many other in different segments of the state where people are really ready to move on.
What do you think the role of this state police should be? Let's look at their role.
What role? Well, the role of the state police, like we are expected to have in Oyo State, is like, just like we needed to have it in other states too, is to essentially tackle local insecurity, and also to do security issues, to face security issues that the states are also required to tackle. Each state has its own laws. Each state has its own laws, and there are criminal issues that are embedded in each of the states, and the laws are there to tackle them. So, where you have the state laws, let the state police face those
don't you think
issues.
Don't you
plus
think there'll be
local insecurity?
Don't you think there'll be clash in jurisdiction? Because as we speak, if today Amotekun arrests criminals, they would have to move them to the police for prosecution because they have the jurisdiction. Now, so are we saying that even the state police would also have the power to also arrest and prosecute?
Well, don't let us forget that the framework is yet to be put in place. We must always be reminding ourselves of that. The framework is not yet in place, and I look forward to a framework that would allow for convenience and for other activities that will help us to have a stable and a sound police system. So I don't want to go into the idea of the Amotekun arresting somebody, taking it to the state police. We just want to imagine what is not yet in place. Yes.
All right. On this note, our time is fast spent, and we want to say a big thank you to you for being our guest this morning, Barrister Oludare Adewale, Esquire, is a legal practitioner, an energy expert, and of course, a retired banker. Thank you very much for being on the program this morning, and of course, being here to time. We appreciate you sincerely for your commitment and dedication to us at BCOS.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. We'll go on a break, and when we come back, our second guest will be joining us. Stay tuned.
Thank you very much for sticking around with us. We're still right here in the conversation on the issues surrounding the state police bill, the amendments that we've seen right here being passed. And like we promised you, our second guest is right here with us this morning. He's a public affairs analyst and yes, indeed, the regular face right here analyzing security matters, especially is none other than Mr. Sumbo Bade Joko. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Victor.
Justin, you're welcome once again. It's good to have you here.
It's always a pleasure. Let's do this again.
Now we're going to do it again after now.
You know, the issue is right here in our faces. And I think I want to ask you, I want to start with you on a different note.
Okay.
If you were put in charge right now, what architecture would you put, in light of everything that's happened in the past year, what architecture, what frameworks, how would you institutionalize your state police department?
But that's the easiest.
It's the easiest?
Honestly.
Tell us.
We have Amotekun already. We have Oitrima already. Match the two of them.
Oh.
The tactical squad. And you have your state police.
But then,
just like that.
Wouldn't we have
imagine?
Because now we have deficiencies with the road, the road issues, traffic obedience. Or would have issues, and there's a directive to not actually go on with Amotekun course, and
this process is going to change all of that. Speaking like that, it means you are living in the past. There's a change in status quo ongoing. It's going to change everything. So whatever we think is the setback or the challenges that the current structure is having will be changed.
There are setbacks. But you look very excited that this is happening.
Because this is where we ought to be. We are just heading to the right place now.
The right bus stop.
Yeah, the right destination.
Okay, I'm glad that you're excited that we now have in existence state police. Now that we have it.
We are going to have it.
We are going to have it. Okay.
No,
yeah, because
I want to use that word. Permit me to use that word. Now that we have it, because we have taken the first step, which makes it clear that it has become a reality before our faces. But to my mind, it's still coming back to the states. The state assemblies have roles to play. Every state has a peculiarity. So the domestication of that particular bill involves the state assemblies. Where do you think that the state assembly should begin from?
It's not the domestication. It's actually a constitutional amendment.
I know, I'm using that word.
When you say domestication, that means it's an act of National Assembly that now needs to be domesticated. This is a constitutional amendment procedure.
But we have a role to play in our National Assembly to make this, real existence with the peculiarity.
I can't remember precisely whether it's my penultimate appearance here or the one before that. This is something that, this is close to restructuring. That Nigerian state as presently constituted is very easy for the ruling party to restructure. You have 31 governors. You only need 24 to have restructuring. So, we will now wait and see that governor who will not be able to make the state assembly that are under their control to fall in line fast enough. Then we will know who the real enemies or the real problems that we are facing, who they ought to really have. So that's why I said it is very easy now. The APC and the Tinubu administration would not have any excuse.
Not to restructure the country.
How come the bill passed just like that?
Because they had more?
Because they had the numbers.
Okay, the numbers favored them. But let's look at the funding. The figures too has to come up somehow. You're giving us a very sharp, concise, and brief way to frame this particular...
I on my way here, and I haven't been told 2 days ago that I'm going to speak on it, I was just laughing because I decided to come and just simplify the whole thing. Okay. So that the fear, even the funding that you are bringing up, I don't see it.
Tell us how.
I told you in Oyo State, for instance, we already have the Amotekun. Are they not on payroll? They are. The Hoitma guys are on payroll. every police will have a traffic division.
Yeah.
And I said you're going to merge those two, then you create a tactical squad. You don't have to give AK-47 to all the personnel. No. You need to have a unit that would be handling special weapon and tactics, a SWAT unit.
Which
those
might be
are the
those that
ones
will
to
be recruited
deployed. And those are the ones to now be recruited.
into the system.
Then you need some that would handle administration, some communication experts. Then you now have to like put installations of some technologies in place. Those are where these are fixed assets. The personnel, you may not be needing more than 2,000 personnel to add to what we have.
For each state?
No, for your
speaking
state.
for you. I
For
live
your
here. You understand? Lagos will not even need up
So
to
you're saying
that.
we are possibly seeing a return of police with batons on the streets instead of guns?
We don't need guns.
No,
like that.
I'm asking because I remember when I was a kid, I saw police with batons, and all of a sudden I stopped seeing them with batons. I started seeing them with guns, and
because
people
we
became
messed
more
up
afraid.
the whole thing. Don't forget, we had military dictatorship for a long period. That changed so many things in this country. Our orientation, it brought in the culture of impunity. It was even under the military that corruption became institutionalized, and we are dealing with all of that as we speak. You understand? Even the police were denigrated under the military because the police was kind of stronger under the civilian administration, the First Republic, the Second Republic. But along the line, because of the military rule, we had quite almost 29 years of military rule. So that's, if not, what am I even saying? Okay, yes, almost 29 years of military rule. So when you look at all of that, it will definitely have impact. And that's why the military is still a little bit strong. That's why their generals still call the shots, the retired ones, that's why they are still powerful and influential. But now, the ideal thing, even in civilized society, any society where you see guns everywhere, it's not a civilized society.
Mr. Badik Juku, you mentioned the First Republic, but there were allegations that some of the regional police that were used back then, some of them were used for personal purposes, and it raised a lot of distrust amongst the public back then. I also remember that there was a conversation I was having with someone about the Agbekoyas of back then, and then relating to the OPC now. Some people started asking questions about how they were used for personal purposes by some individuals with power. Is that not a concern right now that we have the 2027 elections coming? Right now that we are looking at the possibilities that some individuals want to retain power by all means, and they might start utilizing the state police the way they want because they call the shots in their state.
That is not going to be true. Why? Because in the bill passed, one of the provisions says that the commissioner of police, that the governor cannot appoint alone. He has to do it in consultation with the newly structured police council. Now, should the governor give an instruction that commissioner finds contrary to the standard operation, he can detail to the police council, and the police council will have the final say. That, in a way, has put a check on those kind of fear. So when it's just coming up, and we cannot, because it has been abused in the past, now say we don't want it again. When obviously its absence is giving us so many problems.
We're just generally concerned about the framework so that we don't make the same mistakes of the past.
It took a long time to get here. There was a time states were asked to submit memorandum. I was angry at Oyo State government for not joining him. And they said it's a waste of time. They may see it as such, but the reason why it was requested then was so that they can have, an aggregation of proposals that they can now look at to see how they can harmonize the whole thing and get what would fit in, because every society is not structured the same way. And therefore, the direction of our need for state policing here in Southwest may not be the same as the North. or the middle belt, or the southeast or south-south region. Do you understand? In the south-south, for instance, they will need more of Marine Squad because it's a creek. Here, we have forests that are ungoverned, so we need more of rangers. So there will be some uniqueness or peculiarities to across board. So when you now, and that's why they call for that thing, so that they can look at, okay, in your state, this is where you feel, or how you feel you can operate it. That will be put into consideration because it's one law eventually that will be passed. And perhaps they relied on the ones that submitted, or they just used the initiative drawn from people's opinion across board. You understand? A lot of people have been speaking, hearing their views on how these things can be structured. So, and of course, the lawmakers themselves, half of them have legal background. So they are not dons, they are not novice. They know how laws they know what the area of challenge is, what the concern of the people is. And though they have worked on that, that's why they came up with that kind of provision. That even the removal of the commissioner, the governor cannot do it alone. It has to still go through the police council, meaning that we now have a police council that will check the excesses of political office holder who may want to abuse. The current one, are they not being abused? You understand? They carry back for politicians when they're supposed to be securing the civilians. So these are things that currently going on, and this new process seek to correct. It's not going to be a perfect law, mind you, but at least it's going to be better than what we have now.
Now let's look at the situation that we currently are in. For over 40 days now, we still have some people who are still in captivity. And every day we keep yearning and praying that they are released, all of them unhurt. The federal government has assured that they will be released unhurt. The state government has done similar. But now let's look at how this could have been prevented. We know that the number of personnel governing, securing those areas is not adequate enough. I think you were mentioning 1 to 600 as the
yes,
case.
currently we have ratio 1 to 600.
It should not be so.
And the United Nations standard is ratio 1 to 450.
I think we should even have a lesser number.
That ratio too is on paper.
On paper.
In reality, it's ratio 1 to 1,200.
So it's like 1 to double of that number.
The reason is because half of what we have follow VIP.
Oh, that's your reason.
It is the balance that is left to do the policing.
They have been withdrawn.
So now that...
Have they been withdrawn?
They have been withdrawn.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, maybe I'm not seeing clearly. I'm not seeing... So let's leave that side. We'll debate too much.
But now let's look at the situation that we have now. We're talking about jurisdiction here. How will we get the adequate number of police officers? Maybe with the state police departments. I think I'm using the word police department too much.
Well,
maybe it was one in the
we
US.
eventually have that nomenclature.
Is that what they will call it?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay, but then it looks more like we're going to have problems with the numbering now, because we know that some local government areas have a large expanse of land, a lot of space, transversing from year to year and all of that. We need more numbers. How do we work those numbers, and how do we ensure that it does not interfere with the activities of the federal police or the... was it recently that we had the president actually inaugurate the forest guards thing right there? How does it not interfere, especially with areas like those local government areas where we have forests?
That is where jurisdiction comes in. They will have their... state a clear-cut jurisdiction that is meant for them.
I understand that it's on paper, but how do we practicalize it?
We don't have it on paper yet.
I know it will be on paper.
And it will be practicalized exactly the way it is. For instance, that's the missing link. We have the State Judicial Commission. We have the court system at the state level. But we do not have the state police to implement the state laws. And we have the state assembly. Do you understand? We do not have prison yet, or something like a penitentiary, where state criminals can be kept. That has been moved ab initio into concurrent lists. The governors have just decided not to build prisons yet. Now they must build.
That's the point.
You understand? They must build, but it's not part of this process. They just don't see the need for it yet. Because why will I build prison when my Amotekun cannot prosecute? Do you understand? But now there will be reasons to do that. And of course, anybody that is violating state laws and is prosecuted under the state law goes there, not Agodi again. We may even have a situation where the state government can negotiate with the federal. Look, you are not managing Agodi very well. Let us take it over. We'll do it. Instead of building afresh.
And so they just expand.
We just like refurbish the whole place and tell them to look for where to keep their federal offenders. Something like that can happen. Because why? Agodi is right here in Ibadan. And federal prison is not supposed to be everywhere. We may have that kind of situation coming up across board.
So we
because
might just
obviously, the correctional services is having challenges, underfunded. And that's why the prisons are not well managed.
So to my mind, we can even be looking at having one federal prison in the southwest.
Yes, which will have a very large capacity. One federal prison.
Yes, that will have. It can have different compartments, but very large. That would be prisons.
Something like that.
Inmates that would just be from the.
They may decide to just retain Kirikiri, and the other ones are in other states. Can be taken over by the states.
So that's another angle to it.
So there will be developments.
Okay.
That would definitely.
So it's even a long process.
It's a process. So when we are linking it to the election, I say, come, election is politics. This is governance issue. Governance will not be put on hold because of election. It's never done anyway. And that's where those who are trying to politicize the whole thing, in fact, those are the people that we should suspect. They are the real people we should now beam our searchlight into their own activities. Why are you criticizing the way forward if you don't like the position that you have?
Okay, just recently, precisely yesterday, the federal government or the CBN ordered banks to freeze assets of BDCs, 6 individuals, over alleged terrorism funding. What's your tip? I mean, I'm sure you must have seen this.
It's a welcome development.
Yes, but
it's not only BDCs.
Exactly. Is it just the 6 individuals?
They may just be. These are products of investigations.
Okay.
Before they will come up to do that, they have done so many background things that as we speak, there are lots of background investigation going on as regards terrorism finance. And don't forget, we are sharing intelligence now with the United States. The two governments are cooperating in that wise. Before, when the UAE was in it, and a lot of people have also been fingered from that angle. So the finance is a lifeline. Once you track it to the source and you block it, you are solving the problem gradually. Because when they don't get the funds, you are going to have a situation where the operations will be affected. And then we'll begin to have peace gradually. No nation will develop in a country where insurgency is holding sway. No. And it's really contradicting the efforts or sabotaging it of the government trying to go all over the world looking for investors. They won't come. They will say, go and secure your country first. And we don't even need to go around. We only need to secure our country. We have huge advantage. We have population. The most populous black nation on earth, 230 million and counting. And young population, 65% of that are young population. That guarantees what? Labor. That guarantees what? Market. Economically, we are specially positioned. The government just need to deal with this hydra-headed problem once and for all, and then you have every other thing fall in place. Because you are looking at investors coming to solve what governments in other countries would normally do. Power, for instance. Public water, for instance. We are sourcing all of this. But then those who are ready to come and put money to set up the thing for you, you are making them afraid. When you have some ragtag guys wielding AK-47 all over the place who kidnap them, they won't come. But once you take care of that problem, you will see them even begging, scrambling to come and invest here.
All right, now, I want us to look at a different issue that somehow leads to the security issue we're talking about and this bill, amongst other things. Over time, I've watched with keen interest some individuals point out Nigerian graduates and saying some of them are not employable. Over time, I've seen some people ask questions about what the educational system is pouring out. I've seen some people ask questions of those we are birthing now, what they are used to, and what many of them tend to do into society. And I'm asking a question because we have asked too many questions of security men, security personnel, saying many of them are not so exposed, the way they respond to questions, the way they address you, the emotional intelligence levels. And these are things that a proper educational system should take care of. At what point are we going to look back at the educational system and ask questions on how we train ourselves so that this economic viability that we want, the productivity that we want, the security personnel that we think should be out there, we are going to rejig the system and we are going to get them adequate training, because trust me, we need training for whoever is going to be with the state police, whoever is going to secure us, to be able to ask the right questions, to understand, read the room, and of course be emotionally intelligent.
When it comes to training, that seems to be the area of concern. When it comes to training, I can beat my chest here in this studio that there are personnel, there are scholars, you understand, experts, I think that's the right word, that can do the training.
Across Nigeria or?
For as many as are willing to subscribe to their services within the country, if it is training. You understand, there's no problem in that area. The other issue that you raise, as we speak, the curriculum system is currently being changed, modified across board, from the primary down to the tertiary level. There are emerging fields that are now being incorporated. And for a graduate to be tagged as unemployable, you know, a university degree is what the university will give you. But to call yourself a graduate, you need to also train yourself. What other ancillary training did you acquire along the line? Skill acquisition is now an integral part of the curriculum. Before, it wasn't there. You understand? But where it concerns the government is creating a structure that would, a system that will accommodate everybody. You don't have to go through the university before you become a technician. That's skill, vocation. What you need is vocational training. But when you get the vocational training and the organization to employ you is not available, you begin to do something else. Those guys that are insurgents, the president as a candidate said something, that whosoever can cock a gun to shoot can drive a tractor. Meaning the person has what it takes upstairs to be trained in technical vocation. Because handling a gun requires its own technicality. So anybody that can do that and now become an expert in it to the extent that is performing operations with it can undo any kind of machinery if properly trained. So that is where the government needs to now focus on. Create how many factories that do we have? We need to rejig our manufacturing sector, expand it to accommodate these people. You understand? These are people that are needing technicians. They are really in need of them. Then we are in the era of information technology. We're not doing bad in that area. You and I both know that. You understand? So we don't even lack anything. We have people who have even created technological innovations and they are global brands now, Nigerian owned. So we don't have much problem in that area. But in the area of vocation, we have not created a system to accommodate everybody. And then that is adding to the unemployment and is also a source of fuel for criminality. So that's where government comes in to ensure that what? It's very easy. I said you cannot fix power and you expect job to come. Power alone will solve so many problems. Is it rocket science? Why can't we just put structures in place? When you ask this administration, they will begin to tell you projects that are ongoing. What is delaying them? We say dismantle this grid first.
Okay.
So that everybody will know, okay, whatever I generate here will not be taken to one remote area to use.
All these sectors are intertwined.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, let's quickly look at what will not work in this new state police system. What will not work?
Sincerely, I've not been able to look into what will not work because what we have is not working. We need to try it first before there is not going to be a perfect system. When we have it running, then we begin to now look at these are the challenges. I told you it's not going to be a uniform thing. There's going to be an operational standard which they must all work within. If you fall short of that, then there will be problem. If you are trying to be overzealous and going outside of it, then there will be problem. So these are things that may not be working when the time comes. But for states like Oyo, Southwest state generally, that already have something like a prototype on ground, it's not going to be difficult for them. They already know the challenges they have. Imagine an Amotekun carrying AK-47. The bandits will be afraid. But now they know they are just carrying the gun or pump action. They are emboldened to face them. So that will change. And this is for the government. Don't start imagining that, okay, because you have to buy AK-47 they don't need it. Let the ones in the cities or the existing one still be carrying their pump action. The ones you will recruit that will now be specially trained in special weapons and tactics are the ones that will be carrying the AK-47.
Just like we have the DSS carrying...
You understand what I mean? I mean something like a SWAT squad. In fact, SWAT means special weapon and tactics. That is what state government like Oyo will now need to put in place. And you don't deploy them until the situation arises. What they need to now look for is, one, they need to give them befitting structures for offices. You need to put gadgets in there for communication, effective communication. You need more of technology. For the forest, drones will give you a surveillance and intelligence and early warning signs that you can work on. You need to have operational base for those drones. These are things that whoever will be in charge should be looking at. And these are not things that you are going to innovate. They already exist. Just go and get them and put them in place. And then you run it effectively. You need cameras. More than what we have now.
You're talking about spending a lot of money.
It's not a lot of money. These are things that we imagine and we begin to create fear out there. It's because of our corruption. For instance, Iran-US war that is just ending. US is making their drone $200,000 per one. Iran is making it at $15,000. And they are doing the same work. So there is a function of innovation. If you need help, call, ask for it. There are tech guys out there. Victor will agree with me on this that can do drones.
I thought you were going to say Victor could do drones. Okay, that's on a lighter note. Let me quickly.
I wouldn't know. I don't know. I don't know what he does in the secret.
Let me quickly ask you this question. Don't you think that it's high time our government allowed individuals to have drones?
To have drones? No.
No, I'm coming. Or parents, let me say groups. Like communities, allow them have drones to monitor the environment. I mean, what is it there that, security in local areas cannot have their drones? Because if we allow for this, and we're talking about funding, this will help us overcome certain challenges. It means that in the community, you can see for yourself. Of course, all of this will be, just like you have aeroplanes that have been monitored by, the major body. There'll be a major body who will register them, who will monitor them, who will see who owns this drone, what's this drone doing. I mean, we can monitor our environment and see what it looks like.
There's no law, I don't think, except for security issues, there are some special type of drone used for capturing, as in area surveillance, movie shooting, and the rest of them. You can have that and decide to be using it for security purpose. But the thing is, if we now ask everybody to be doing that, then what is the essence of this police? What would they now be doing?
You can give them information ahead of time.
Let them have their own. And get the way they will read, someone that is trained in intelligence, the way that one can cite crime from a distance. Not someone who sees the thing as a toy to play with and just looking at it.
Or better still, individuals have cameras. Communities develop, camera systems.
So and it's working for them. But the cost, is it in my area where some people find it difficult to pay 500 naira for security levy? Where would
seriously?
Where would the committee get
500 naira?
Yes.
That's reality. It's not that they don't have it. They just been
they just don't want to pay it.
uncooperative.
Wow.
They don't have reason to, maybe.
Do you understand? What do you mean they don't have reasons?
Some people don't have reason to.
No.
Or they feel they don't have reasons.
Yeah, they just choose to be uncooperative.
Then we have a lot of work to do.
That is Nigeria for you. Nigeria is...
And they're the same people that will complain.
That's why some people will use some funny words like a jungle, a fool. You understand? For the country, because we have people behave like lunatics. You have 20 million, 30 million to buy a vehicle. And you will tell me you cannot register that vehicle with less than 200,000? And you prefer to drive that vehicle unregistered, up and down, tinted. And we are talking about kidnapping. And the government too will be slack on that. When I said it here that the banning of Okada from a certain time is a veil, but that order is incomplete.
Let's look at the curfew that
someone would decide to, knowing fully well if the danger involved to his own life. You are driving, because it's automatic drive, you are making call at the same time. These are things that are not civilized. But we do it anyway, because we believe we can and nothing would happen.
Let's look at the curfew that the state government has put in place.
And it's been extended.
Yes, and it's been extended again. Let's look at it.
Initially, it said 48 hours in the first instance, meaning that window for extension was already there. You understand? And it's something we cannot be talking about. But the only thing I could say about it is that there's been a change in tactics in the attempt to rescue the hostages that we have.
Okay, away from that, let's look at, do you think the state police thing will work across the country? Because if it works in the Southwest, or maybe the Southwesterners are clamoring for it and it's working, and the Northerners are not allowing it to exist or even work, don't you think we're back at the same bus stop?
What is your business with the North?
We're in the same country.
No, we are
you
not.
You will go to the North. Don't you go to the North?
We are not in the same country. I've been there. We are not the same.
So you will not go there again?
It is when I went there that I discovered that we are just too different. Berlin Conference is a disaster that will linger in the memory of some of us.
Did you just say Berlin Conference?
That is why we are together. And then Lugard came in 1914 to not mess up the whole thing, the thing we are managing before. He came and now give us this. And this is an open challenge. My colleague used to say it. Government intelligence platform should find a way, even if they must borrow it to duplicate, if they must steal it, they should go and get that amalgamation document. We were told that it's for 100 years. 100 years elapsed, how many years ago? This is the 12th year after that. But we cannot say anything about it. So if the amalgamation has expired, why are we still together as a country?
No. We should not preach disunity.
When some people would prefer, imagine some northern leaders were already saying this move is suspicious. We are talking of a way forward, and you are thinking of to join us back. That means we don't think the same way.
So are you saying that the reason is because the amalgamation...
What created banditry? The Have-Any was open grazing. How many states have attempted to do ranching, make it ban open grazing? Who are those that have criticized it? Which country in the world where they rear cattle? For your information, if you check the US passport, you see cattle there. Meaning they also rear cattle, they have ranching.
Every
Netherlands has more cattle than we do in Nigeria.
True.
And Netherlands is just a little bigger than Oyo State. But we would prefer to be doing open grazing, and ranching is the way to go. But some people, and it's not that they don't have money for ranches, they just want to maintain that pastoral, cultural orientation, which is archaic. How will you refuse to civilize? And you want to impose that your uncivilized state on the rest of us?
So long we have decided to stay together as a nation, this state police has to work.
If the likes of, wait, what you just said, if the likes of people like Dr. Yemi Farumbi, people like Dr. Wulabi Oladejo and some other people that I know are pro-restructuring and pro-regional government, should hear what you say, they will tell you, when did we decide to be together? That's the question they will ask you.
All right, now, on a final note this morning, because our time is fast spent, on a final note this morning, what do the people need to understand for the state police bill to work?
They need to be optimistic. They need to be ready to play their own part. You understand? Every form of criminal tendency that every individual is having, we should do something about it. Don't, because you have some little cash, now be thinking of breaking the law. The road says this way, you want to drive the other way because it's shorter. What will it take you to go and navigate and then turn around? Drive normally, use your seat belt. These are things that will look insignificant, but will help this security, the state police to work. Fix your vehicle when it's giving you sign. Don't allow the brake to fail and then you are looking for a street light to stop.
It seems like that happens only in Nigeria.
Look, these are things that we do.
Okay.
Because that street light you are going to run over will take time to fix. And between that window, a lot of problem would happen.
Okay, on this note,
so these are things we need to learn to start behaving normally as people so that things can work.
Thank you very much. Okay, of course, Mr. Adesumbo Badijoko is a public affairs analyst, and you could listen and hear all that he has said, and trust me, it has made a lot of sense. All right, we're coming to the end of the interview segment this morning, and of course, we want to say big thank